to Two Thumbs Down Podcast. I'm Christian, and we got Luke here.
Hey, what's going on?
As well.
What's going on, everyone?
Luke, you have another podcast. Which one is it?
Oh, yeah, it's one with Darian Lux. I think his is called the, what's it called? God damn it. It's, the Epic Rant or something, not so Epic Rant, I think, with Lux. I mean, I guest on it sometimes, but, yeah, I think that's mainly his. We'll try to have him on,
Sure. So this is our first episode, but we're essentially what we're going to be doing is going over anything ranging from movies, music, pop culture, just life in general. So we're real big into Netflix, and we just both binge watched American Vandal. So our first episode actually was originally going to feature an interview with one of the writers, but she has yet to Skype call me. So when that happens, we'll splice that in. But until then, I think we're just going to
made the show
good and why it's not getting enough attention and fuck.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of, like, social media grabs of it. At times
Absolutely
I do.
not.
But, it, like, as much as Netflix seems to put in a marketing budget of things like House of Cards or BoJack Horseman or just anything that they... original programming, they don't really seem to do that with American Vandal.
No, they don't.
Unless I'm not just looking in the right places.
Well, I did a lot of research on the show originally, and you would think that they would push, something new, because you have all this. Netflix is constantly shitting out content. I mean, some of it's good, but you got a lot of just absolute dumpster fires of television and movies.
No, yeah.
And when they have something good that they're sitting on and not, pushing it or marketing it, I haven't seen anything. In fact, I didn't know about it until you told me about the show.
Yeah, I saw a trailer whenever the trailer first dropped over, because it came out. It came out last week?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like early in the summer when the trailer dropped. Then a lot of these it was on YouTube on Netflix's YouTube.
Right.
And a lot of the comments were like, "This isn't like real, right?" And
yeah.
It's obviously like they're obviously satirizing the craze of Making a Murderer, The Jinx, Serial, all these porn, not porn, but like crime porn.
Right.
Murder porn, as
absolutely.
one would say. The docu-series drama,
and
real crime.
It works really well, and we'll get to that later. But I think one of the reasons it does work so effectively is it has like a sense of self-awareness to it, where it doesn't take itself too seriously. But you get to a point in the show where obviously, the original concept is, which I guess we should talk about, but it's about a high school student who, you don't know who, just mysteriously spray paints 27 dicks on 27 cars in the parking lot of the staff.
But there seems to be a scapegoat of someone who has this typical behavior of drawing dicks everywhere, and who's also this like...
Which is funny.
Yeah, he's like a stoner, but in a sense he's almost like an idiot.
Right, yeah, and
which
he's
I
an
know
absolute
we've all dealt with
asshole.
People in high school.
Sure.
Exactly like that. I think we all know, can have a mental image of who we're thinking
Definitely.
of.
That's what I think was so great about the show, is Dylan Maxwell. Everybody knows Dylan Maxwell. You obviously don't know the actual character, but you know who that fucking kid is.
Or we've done it before, just drawing dicks in class.
For sure.
Bored as hell in class.
The thing that makes me laugh is, like, I don't know if it's like a reference to Superbad or it's just like a hilarious thing, but like the dick drawing is definitely a pop culture phenomenon.
No, yeah, definitely, especially with Superbad. I think I can remember that was like...
That scene was
it's probably
so
it's not the first
funny.
one that ever did that in a movie, but like to make it so
that was the first time I was ever... Yeah.
So... But yeah, no, it was obviously, like we said, there's someone we all know that could just draw dicks.
Right, yeah.
And draw it
and I think there's another parallel between the two, where I mean they don't have much related, but in the sense where you can juxtapose them because they both do high school so well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially like in this context, because it's like you can say 13 Reasons Why does high school
absolutely
well, but there's like a weird like not weird, but it's like that's a whole different show,
a
whole
fucking
different
podcast.
type of context where it's like. That deals with like teen bullying, suicide, and at times this delves into that.
It gets dark,
but on a surface level, it's like who drew dicks,
right?
Like, that can all be like in any language be hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully anyone can say that's funny in all languages.
And some of the stuff I've been reading, people who haven't watched the show or didn't make it through the show, were like, I'm worried that it's just gonna be dick humor, and there is a lot of dick humor.
At least in the first couple episodes.
Yeah,
I
but
had that same thought too. I was like, I hope they don't drag this on for like 8 episodes.
They do, but they do it right, and you forget that it's a dick show.
Yeah, really. Yeah, especially towards the half. Which, by the way, we're doing a spoiler on this. If anyone hasn't watched
turn it off now because this is an absolute spoiler.
Yeah, but like halfway, even after the first like second or third episode, they kind of stray away from
Yes.
dicks 24/7. Even
Right.
though they have like that one in the first episode where they talk about the ball hair, which is essentially their, Zapruder film. Like
Sure.
JFK,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like that's like there's ball hair, but Dylan doesn't draw ball hair on his dicks, you
Right.
know? Or like the mushroom head wasn't.
It became his MO. You know, whenever he got reinstated in school, whenever they revoked the expulsion, somebody, one of the characters, asked him to draw a dick, and she wanted to make sure that he had the ball hair on the dick. Which they did callbacks towards the end of the beginning of the show, and it really took you on a journey through the eyes of Dylan and what he was going through. And I thought it was really interesting how you almost sympathize with somebody who's essentially just sucks. You know, he's a racist. He's a loser. He's a terrible human being. But you sympathize with him because at least in my theory, he didn't draw the dicks.
I didn't really see racism in his character.
Oh yeah, do you remember Ming, the character Ming?
Oh okay, yeah, and now
yeah, he was he was just he's Chinese, he sucks or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
that was that seemed like a huge throwaway line, but honestly, now that you said that, I do remember him saying
it makes sense though.
I don't know why he thought I was Chinese,
yeah.
even though he was, but not
right.
You know,
and not to get political or anything, but he was that guy.
Yeah,
you know, everybody knows that person, the Fox Racing shirt and the whatever, that kid.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised he wasn't drinking a Monster Energy drink through the whole thing. But they did a really good caricature of that person in high school,
especially in I would imagine, not ultra liberal, but liberal area of Oceanside.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
Which also I thought was really interesting how they just filmed in that high school.
Yeah,
I would imagine they
that high school was actually the location of a few other projects. I mean,
so it's not like this is the first.
It's not like the first thing, but it's definitely a high school. You know, I mean, they still have classes and stuff, but it's been the set for a few other high school movies, and I can't recall off the top of my head, but I was reading something about that as well. I guess the next thing we should talk about is, the acting. I think the acting in the show, for a show that has such an outlandish, absurd concept, the acting was done so well and so immersive. I mean, you forget that it's not real at points.
No, yeah. Especially Dylan Maxwell. I know we just talked about this before we started, but who's the guy? Jimmy Tatro.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he's almost typecast as being an idiot.
Right.
If you watch I know you have the Wikipedia. Can you go on his?
Yeah, for sure.
I know he was in 22 Jump Street as the whole college bro.
Yeah, and he does that well.
Kind of what he did in American Vandal, but in a sense of more of an idiot, not much like a frat bro football star.
Mm-hmm. He was also in Blue Mountain State too.
Oh, okay. It goes right into that.
Right.
Yeah. He's almost a little bit typecast as this idiot, but.
I think there's something to be said for typecast. So I mean, you have people like Michael Cera, right?
Yeah.
Who do it so well that it doesn't matter if they're typecast. But somebody like Jimmy Tatro, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he has such a range of emotion. I mean, I remember in the first episode where Tyler Alvarez, the documentary maker, was interviewing Dylan, and he was so expressive and he displayed his emotions so well that his acting range is actually really, really impressive.
Yeah, no.
And I think that he could go beyond just asshole idiot kid.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see more from him in the future where he has maybe a leading role or does something else.
Yeah, no, because he looks like, I would imagine he's in his early 20s, our age, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's born 1992. So yeah, he's about 2 years older than us. So he's on the rise, I'd say. This is even going straight up. Grown Ups 2, as I'm looking at his.
That fucking movie.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
I'll talk about that. That's okay with everyone else.
That sounds just fine with me.
Yeah. But even the other ones, as you say, Tyler Alvarez, Griffin Gluck as Peter and Sam, they were really well. Also, this is kind of not really in the terms of acting, but in the beginning of the show where they do the intro graphics, they make it look like their characters sent this to Netflix.
Yeah, you texted me, I didn't really pay attention to the theme song or the intro because I usually skip it, but whenever you texted me that, I sat there and watched it, and you're right. What they did was they spliced in edits from Dylan's childhood, and it really looked like an actual documentary, and that's kind of what I was saying.
Was Jimmy's, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I imagine they got like actual shot hood photos and videos of him in there, which
don't quote me on that, but the kid really looked like him. It was awesome.
And even like I was saying, like they actually when you're looking at like the credits,
yeah,
it would say like directed by Peter Maldonado.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Executive produced by the Hanover High AV team,
AV Club or whatever.
It was real.
Yeah,
like actually Netflix picked up this.
That's what I mean. Like you forget you're watching a Funny or Die parody.
Yeah,
and I think we should talk about that too a little bit. Funny or Die, what they've done in the past. I mean, they've made a pretty impressive name for themselves. I mean, they've had some pretty good projects. I don't know for sure, but did they do the Donald Trump one on Netflix, The Art of the Deal? Was that them?
Yes,
yeah,
with Johnny Depp.
Yeah. They're starting to put out some really good content, and they're getting off of just like funny YouTube skits, and they're actually putting out respectable, good film.
Yeah, they're branching their new media into streaming content.
Yeah,
it seems to be the norm now.
And that again, that's
especially
a whole other.
Especially for a media house like them.
Absolutely,
they got to branch out to other things rather than just YouTube.
Right.
Which unfortunately is experiencing an adpocalypse as
Jesus
people
Christ,
follow that whole YouTube drama.
You want to talk about YouTube? I mean, I honestly, I think YouTube as a concept, like just ideologically, YouTube is an amazing, awesome thing. But the fact that you have these censors really. You have people on YouTube now where you can't curse or you can't talk about a certain subject, and I don't want to get into all this, but like I just think that like YouTube is dying, and the fact that like I really do think that they acknowledged that and moved on from it before anybody else did, and they went on to Netflix and film and stuff, because like there's only so much you can do expressively or creatively on YouTube now. And with a film, you have complete freedom. And it used to be like that with YouTube. I mean, any asshole with a camera could, record a vlog or whatever. I mean, I did. I know you did.
Yeah, and you still technically can, but if you wanted to make money off of it, it seems like
that's
people
a different story.
Like the whole Jake Paul scandal, which like I don't know how he's still making money.
That kid sucks. Yeah, I don't even want to get into it with him. But like,
did you see he's making a song with Gucci Mane?
That's amazing.
Yeah, not really.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
God damn it,
dude.
dude.
Yeah, Gucci Mane and Jake Paul on a song together. I'm fine. But anyway, that was a tangent I didn't think we wanted to get into. But
no,
yeah,
it's different podcast.
Because it goes back to what, like 2008.
Yeah.
Whenever they had that whole Will Ferrell sketch with the baby.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, I remember watching that and just laughing.
It was hysterically. Right.
And even when it was in what was that movie, Boyhood. They had it in Boyhood, and it was like made me feel old as shit. Cause it's
right.
Like, wow.
And I'd like to do an episode on Boyhood. I mean that's if not one of my favorites. My favorite movie of all time. I mean, that movie's just a fucking masterpiece. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Linklater's done some incredible stuff.
Yeah, even his newest movie coming out looks interesting.
What's that called?
Shit, I forget the name. It has like Bryan Cranston and Steve Carell. Where
they
go and like they're old war buddies, and they go like Steve Carell's son died in the Gulf War, and they go on like a road trip to take his body away from Arlington.
That is so Linklater. Like that's a
family plot.
That's cool.
So. It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I imagine it's coming out this fall, so I imagine you're gonna see a lot of Oscar buzz with that movie.
Absolutely.
With those star-studded cast and that whole,
He has a definite like motif in all of his movies, and it's not so much like all his movies are the same, but they have the same vibe, and it's kind of like a dark, lighthearted. I don't know the word for it.
Yeah, he can go
like,
from making like something like Boyhood, which touched a lot of heartstrings, to something Everybody Wants Some, which like
right. Or did he did Dazed and Confused? Didn't he?
That was his first.
Which I don't love that movie like everybody else does. It's not. I don't know. I guess I just didn't grow up on it or whatever. But
it holds up.
It does hold up. Yeah. It does. I just I don't know. It didn't really touch me the same way it touched a lot of people. But like he definitely has, the ingredients to hit people emotionally with his films, and I think he's a great director, and I'd like to see a lot more from him.
Yeah.
But back to American Vandal.
Yeah. No, I really did enjoy it. Like when you're looking at things like Making a Murder and like The Jinx, like they have like that whole. What's the word? Like twist.
Yeah.
At the end, which I mean it's real Making a Murder, but I guess American Vandal has their own when they go into like the last 3 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that then. So I was actually reading an interview with Dan Peralt and Tony Ascenda, the two people who directed it. They actually work. They have a company together, I believe, Woodhouse, and they said, explicitly in the interview, we didn't want to have a confirmed ending, because in Serial or whatever, all those true crime shows, they never, like, or that Amanda Knox documentary, like, you never know. Like, it's such a, like, throwback to what they're parodying, and they did it so well.
It's almost like they're leaving it up for people like us to
interpret,
about,
and like, two assholes on a podcast talking about it. But like, so let's get into that then.
Mm-hmm.
Who drew the dicks, man?
I would be willing to bet it was who Peter thought was at the end, which was Krista Carlisle and Vandalario?
Vandalori. So this is my theory.
Oh, yes. I very much, when you texted me this theory, I love it, and I want you to say it because it is so good, and I hope that's exactly what they were going for.
It has to be. There's no other explanation. Or maybe it's just to throw people off who are overanalyzing stuff. But,
like us.
Okay. So there is a character who is, she's like the class president. She's like a political activist. She's just,
I guess you could call her a SJW.
Yeah, sure.
Which turns people off, but in this case, I think we also know who that is from our high school class.
There's always one. Now, her name is Krista Carlisle. Krista Carlisle went to summer camp, and there was a super smoking hot counselor who she had a crush on named Vandalori. Now, in the documentary, Peter and Sam did not believe that Dylan drew the dicks. They theorized that...
Well, at least Peter didn't.
Right, yeah, Sam was a little off about it. But Peter was certain that Dylan didn't do it for a while. And at the end, he comes up with the theory that Krista drew the dicks. And they had a motive, they had everything.
And they even had almost physical evidence, like...
Of her drawing 27 dicks.
And also, like, sorry to interrupt, but it was just like... There was that one point where she said that her alibi was she had CPR training. And
at the party, right.
At the end of the party when Ming, or is his name
Ming? It was Ming.
Yeah, he like passed out from drinking too much.
And she said, does anybody know CPR?
Yeah,
You're right.
CPR.
Right,
and,
I completely, that eluded me. You're right.
He didn't catch it until, I think it was Sam that caught it. And he was like, did you hear what she said?
Right,
so CPR, so, sorry, continue.
On to the theory. Now, this wasn't explicitly stated, but I want you guys to think about this. Her name is Krista Carlisle, and her boyfriend is named Vandalori. So Vandal. It's right there. It's right out in the open.
Yeah.
Now, here's my second thing. If you watch the show very closely, in the beginning of the show, when they first show her character, introduce her character, she has a cast on her left leg. The next time they introduce her, later on in the show, the cast is on her right leg. I don't know if that's a continuity error or if she's a lying sack of shit. A lying dick drawing sack of shit.
Yeah. I didn't catch that whole cast thing.
And I don't think a lot of people did.
The car vandal thing, too.
Yeah.
But once I saw that she didn't take CPR, that it was the CPR certificate was given to her by her boyfriend, I automatically thought that. And the whole thing with her trying out for football practice and her getting absolutely destroyed,
right,
and her taking it out
on Rafferty.
Who said something that I guess
we don't
never
know yet.
know.
Yeah.
Or not know yet.
Well, that was actually the cast. Her broken leg was her alibi because she wouldn't have been able to draw all the dicks in that amount of time.
Yeah, so she would have gotten Sam to or.
But the fact that
Van,
we'll call him Van. So the fact that her cast might not be a real cast, she definitely could have drawn all the dicks.
Yeah, at least half.
Yeah, at least half the dicks.
But also, I imagine that she probably would have just gone to delete the footage rather than draw the dicks, or at least draw half the dicks.
Right.
Delete the footage.
But I'm saying, like, if her leg wasn't broken, like that was why they cleared her in the first place, because she had a broken leg. How could she have drawn the dicks?
Exactly.
The fact of the matter is, I don't think her leg was fucking broken. I think that she was completely mobile.
Yeah.
She had access to the AV club room. She had the keys.
Media
she could
server,
she could have deleted the footage off the FTP. Mm-hmm. I think she drew the dicks. I do. I really do.
I'm 100% with you. And even like, I was really on board with the Dylan's girlfriend drawing the dicks too.
Oh, what the Mackenzie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get back at the coach.
I didn't really understand.
Do you think that she drew one of the dicks?
Yeah. What happened there? So, I mean, honestly, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she drew one dick, and it inspired Krista and Van to draw 26 more.
Even
dicks.
though they both had shit to do.
Right.
With
They both had a vendetta against the coach.
So
maybe they were in on it together.
Possibly all three.
Yeah.
Which I also thought was really interesting how they dealt with like something like Twitch.
That was cool.
Which a lot of people don't know what it is if you're not in the gaming community.
Right.
You don't know what Twitch is. I thought that was a really way to like almost like exonerate Dylan.
Yeah.
Like that's essentially the smoking gun of how he was,
that was awesome.
at the parking lot of the school when he was on a live stream, I guess a privated live stream.
Sure, yeah.
Because like she was doing what like a strip tease.
Yeah, like one of those strippers. You know what I'm talking about.
It was almost like they were playing Rainbow Six Siege, and if she died, she had to take her clothes off. Right. That's the way I got
it. There's YouTube channels where chicks do that.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I guess she was doing that because I guess her and Dylan were on a break, and I guess Dylan walked in with dog food or whatever, and then that's how
exonerated him.
Yeah, exonerated him. So.
I'd like to talk about that because the show, something that it did extremely right was how in touch with social media it was.
Yeah.
And the way that it illustrated, Snapchat, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. Films usually are afraid to actually explicitly go into that stuff.
Yeah, they'll put like some random stupid like when they go on the internet, it'll be like you search or something.
Yeah, or like search power or whatever.
Like,
I
get they might not have the
licensing or whatever
to do Google, but I mean
they went all fucking in, and that was cool.
But if you're doing like a $5 million, like a $100 million project,
you can spare the money to display Google.
I don't think Google would
charge
that much to have their.
Who cares? I mean,
everyone knows what Google is.
Right?
Like, it's a
they
literal
don't need the advertising.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally a dictionary word. So it's like whatever. Regardless. Yeah, I thought that it was.
It's something that I think they could have done, and just going on about technology and film. I always find it really interesting how, especially films set in modern day, how they illustrate texting. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but whenever a show or a movie has a text message involved into it, it's always done differently. I really liked how House of Cards did it, where they would show the text, it would pop up on screen.
Yeah, like graphic-wise, and then they would do it in real time, like typing it out, yeah.
Sherlock did it really well. An example... No, you're not missing much.
Yeah.
An example, I think, of texting done really poorly would be Dexter, where they would just show a shot of, this undescript fucking... Oh, my God. That was terrible.
I love that show, but goddamn.
Yeah, the technology in that film was so bad.
Yeah.
So fucking bad.
I mean, it came out in 2005, and ended 2 years ago. So, but you still think they'd
But they could have embraced it, instead of we want to incorporate this, but you're just not committing.
No, yeah.
And they committed in Vandal, and they did it really well. They did it really fucking well.
No, they really did.
And there is a very specific episode where I think it was just done to the next level, and I believe it was episode 6, I want to say, where Peter and Sam were going over the footage from the party at Nana's house.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And they collected all of the Snapchats from the house, and it was really cool. If you're into production, video editing or movies at all, and how they're made, that is a really cool thing to watch.
They essentially mapped out how who said what, who was where, and how they found the
it was really
the red can of spray paint.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They also did it where, in the sense of they also did that whole 3D mapping of a house you see in true crime.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. And they never.
And they did the same thing with the hand job, which is hilarious.
That was hysterical. That was the best bit in the show.
Yeah.
That was the best bit in the whole thing. But what I thought was really interesting was. Again, how they fully committed to the Snapchat, and it high school kids do that. We did that,
we still do. Shit.
Yeah, sure. And they, the way that they analyzed, every single piece of footage and showed it on the show, it was really cool. And you really felt, at least I did, I really felt like I was sleuthing with Peter and Sam.
Yeah.
And that was cool. That was really, really cool for me.
I'm trying to think of what else would be.
So I think the next thing to talk about would be why the dicks were drawn.
In terms of Krista?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was her motive for drawing the dicks? If that's our theory, that she drew the dicks, or her and Mackenzie, or whatever. Yeah. Why did they do it?
If it was Krista, obviously to get back at Coach Rafferty for that whole football stunt.
What do you think he said to her?
I don't know. Something very sexist, because he looks like the type of person. Obviously he's been dating all those moms. I feel like he's a player type. So
yeah.
He would, typical high school coach of
Sure.
Yeah,
oh, you're not whatever. Yeah.
You're not concussed. You don't have a concussion. That type of thing with
But
that type of mentality. You probably said something misogynistic. You don't fucking belong here. You're a woman. Something along those lines.
Something really fucked up.
Yeah.
But in the I think you're right. But in the interview, the final interview that Peter did with Krista, very distinctly said, I mean, it was something so horrible, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to discuss it. So I think it was beyond just, like, you know, you suck, you're a girl. I think it was just something fucking just outrageous. And could it have been something enough to make her draw a bunch of dicks? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah?
I would imagine, if she would have gotten her boyfriend to, you know, maybe fake the CPR in order to have an alibi, because she seems smart enough like a girl to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you think it was like, it wasn't an impulsive thing? It was a long, like, drawn out.
Because that whole thing happened in September in the show.
Yeah.
And the dicks were drawn in March.
Right.
So she had
it was a process.
time to plan that shit out.
And she got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, because even then she didn't agree to the interview until after they graduated. So. Not that would have cleared her of any wrongdoing. She still would have probably had to pay a shit ton of money for the college.
But yeah.
But in the sense of, like, not going to college, in the sense of, like, you know, having something on her permanent record.
I also got the sense
she
that...
essentially got away with it.
Yeah, she did. And I also got the sense that she figured out that they were onto her at the end. You know, whenever she walked out on that interview.
Or as soon as he gave her the piece of paper that said, like, the incident with a student. It wasn't with Mackenzie, it was with Krista.
Right.
So...
And I think at that point, like, she knew, like, I'm burnt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the driveway dick.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I guess that's just him going back to him, you know,
just being
Dylan.
An idiot.
Yeah.
So that I think,
which that really threw me off for a loop. I was thinking that he'd have a happy ending, but
right, and he didn't. Which is kind of what I was about to say. Is the show wasn't afraid to get dark when it had to.
Oh yeah.
And that's something it done. That's something that it did really well as well. Dylan sucked, as we said.
Yeah.
And he was very flawed in the fact that he couldn't just not have attention on him. You know, like that was his thing. Like he was like the class clown. He was and I think to an extent he enjoyed being like the suspect or like being the topic of attention.
I think until the party when they were all watching it.
Right, when they all like, you know,
and they all showed like the interviews like, oh yeah, Dylan did, he's a fucking idiot. After them being like, oh, what's up, Dylan, you're the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, okay, let's watch the American Vandal. And they're like, Dylan did it, or like someone drew dicks. Oh, it's Dylan. He's a fucking idiot. Yeah, of course he did. And I guess he reverted back to like, oh, everyone doesn't like me anymore. Might as well be the guy that they think I am.
And then you think that's why he drew the driveway dick.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory.
So I'm pretty sure you even said that at the end, right?
Yeah, he definitely did. I really do think that his character had a lot more depth than people give it credit for. Let's also maybe go into the Wayback Boys and his crew.
It was his crew, idiot.
One of my favorite characters was Ganj.
Yeah.
She was funny.
Yeah.
She was funny. That's another thing I think the show did really well was, you know, all the side characters were important.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that you wanted to find out who drew the dicks, it was the fact that they actually had a little bit of substance to them, where a lot of shows don't really have that with their side characters. Like, you know, they're just there to either fill time or just to, you know, have a passing conversation and fill a scene. But you have every one of those characters, Alex Trimboli, Sarah Peterson, the hot girl. I don't recall her name off the top of my head.
Yeah, Sarah Pearson, but yeah.
Sarah Pearson, excuse me. Right. There's a couple other ones too. Gabby, the senior who could drive, who drove them all around.
Who Sam had a crush on.
Right. There was such a overarching point of everybody matters in the show, which was really cool. And I think...
and they were also all affected by the dicks. Not just the dicks, but the documentary.
Right.
Because they were all going in on... You know, Sarah Pearson was so pissed that, like, you know, they found out her hookup list, which...
Right, yeah.
Probably could have been omitted in the documentary, but it was still... They needed to find the truth of, you know, everyone.
And I think that's a good point. You know, I keep talking about the dicks, but the show... I don't really think it's about the dicks. I think the show, as a whole, like, conceptually... is about the documentary. Speaking of side characters, I think we have to close this by talking about Mr. Kraz.
Yeah, and which seems to be a very good post on the subreddit here with mega spoilers.
Do they have a subreddit, or is it just on...
it's just a random...
Oh, like our television or whatever.
Self-television, yeah. Someone says #Kraz did it. That was pretty much it. But now that
you
I think
about
it... I don't know if he... at the beginning, I thought he did.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because he was talking about how much he's, like... this cool teacher.
Yeah.
His students respect him, and he was like throwing shade at pretty much every single faculty
That
member.
was so funny. Every time he was on camera, I was cracking up. I mean, he just killed that role.
And we've all probably had teachers that are creepy as fuck.
Oh my
another reason
God,
why he was
man.
so good of a character.
Yeah, we went to high school together, and like, I mean, there was just that dude.
So many.
That dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah, definitely.
He played that role. I mean, and satirized it like to the extreme, and it worked so well. I mean, he was probably my favorite side character.
I definitely thought that he could have done it because he was like trying to get back at like the teachers because he didn't win the Teacher of the Year award.
Right. Yeah. There was
the reason that
I don't know if you noticed, but whenever Rafferty won the Teacher of the Year award,
he like storms out, right?
He stormed out. So he might have something to do with it.
And that was the day before the Dicks.
That was I think that was a while before the Dicks.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. Which kind of brings me into the last point that we want to talk about here is going forward.
Like next season?
Yeah.
Because you did say they are.
They are. I was just reading an interview on Slate.com, and both the directors had mentioned, we because we wanted to keep true to like Serial and Making a Murderer, where they didn't want to have a definitive who done it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to do a season 2. I mean, they're already in talks with it. They're already working on it. I mean, they're gonna do it.
So what would they just pick up with the Dicks?
I don't know.
They technically ended it.
They said they wanted
ended it on a high note with.
Well, they said they wanted to continue the story, and I do think there are some ends, to tie up there. But I kind of hope that they just leave it how it is.
Yeah, because I don't know how they could do another 8 episodes.
Right. They can't stretch
with that little,
like that much content. But what I hope they do is sort of like a Serial situation where they do like a different crime. Maybe not even with the same characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like an anthology series.
Yeah, what I mean. Like just get a bunch of like relatively unknown actors and maybe have Sam and what's his name? What's the other character, dude? Peter. Sam and Peter.
Yeah.
Do another documentary, American Vandal Part 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in college now or something, and or maybe they could have like the fallout from the documentary or what have you. I mean, there's a lot of direction they could take with that.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it not about dicks, but something else. I think it would be
something
good.
as not as serious, but at the same time serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that if they continue in the direction they took it, where it was self-aware, but it was good enough to the point where it's as good of a mystery as True Detective at points. Season 1, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they do that, I really think they're onto something.
No, yeah, I agree.
And I can see it taking off. I just it needs to have lightning strike in a couple places. They need to have a huge marketing push and beyond just word of mouth. I mean, because like you'll hear podcasts about it, you'll hear like Reddit posts about it, but like not many. I think if they push it, and I think if the directors don't fudge it up in the next season, I think it could really be a staple in pop culture.
Yeah,
I can definitely see people.
At least on Netflix now that like House of Cards is probably on its death throes. 13 Reasons Why has another season coming out.
Is that what is like 26 reasons? What
I don't
the
know.
fuck?
I don't know. There's like I don't know.
She's dead.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I don't.
I don't know, man. You have to wait and see, I guess. God damn, dude.
I don't want to talk about that show, but god damn it,
I like that show.
I like the show.
I think Hannah Baker is a great character.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She is. An interesting thing that I noted.
Plus, she's really cute too.
She's super
which really
cute.
has nothing to do with.
No, but she is.
I just thought she did it well.
One of the writers, he actually Nick Sheff. I don't know if you saw that on the end credits of that show.
Of American Vandal or 13 Reasons.
13 Reasons.
Yeah.
One of the writers is named Nick Sheff, who actually wrote one of my favorite books. Weird. I just happened to come across his name. And he's like a TV writer now. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's like. He was living in California and when he wrote this book, and it was like about his life, and like he ended up like on meth and like all this crazy shit,
Jesus
and like
Christ.
yeah, it was like his like just like his autobiography.
Yeah.
And I guess he wrote for the show, and now he's
Awesome.
like he's kicking ass. That's
good.
cool.
That's really good to see.
But yeah, the 13 Reasons was good. I don't really know how they're gonna pull off a sequel without that just being a
They said
fucking
something.
hellhole.
They said something of what they're gonna do, but I didn't really pay attention. Probably something along the lines of the fallout of the whole, like
like the suicide.
and with what's his name, the Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
I
thought
imagine
that-
he's gonna get like prosecuted or something like that, because like they all came in, like had those depositions.
The
at end
last
of it.
thing I'll say about that show, I do think that the show was an important show. I think it had a good message, obviously.
Yeah, it didn't glorify suicide as what people are saying.
But there are people that see that as, like, a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if one person, like, sees that and, like, triggers something, like, I don't know. And that's not the responsibility of the show, but, like, I just think, like, I have a little sister who, like, I mean, she's 9 and she watched the show. Like, I mean, it's so popular that, like, kids are watching it, and, like, it's a little heavy for kids. But I think it's an important thing to get out there. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think it's important to, like, bring, like, suicide awareness or whatever, like, into like the conversation. But, like, I mean, it was a good show. I'm curious how the second season.
Plus, I mean, it's not like they pulled that out of their ass. It was based off of
source
material.
Book.
So
yeah. Which is interesting to me, because if there's no source material for the second season, how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm not real sure how. I didn't read the book, so I didn't know how.
I didn't either.
So I don't know if they're even continuing like different parts they never touched on in the book.
Well, I always brushed it off as just like another like fucking John Green novel, whatever. But like I guess it was like pretty good. Like I really enjoyed the show. I really did.
I did too.
Some of her reasons were a little like goofy, Like I remember one specific scene where she was like, "Oh, he made my ass a target," and like like stuff like that. Like I'm sure it's been talked about over and over, but like it just I guess the message was like any little thing could
And I guess we weren't never what's the word, preteen girls in high school. Not preteen, but teen girls in high school.
As two straight dudes.
We would never know.
It probably isn't our
ridicule of that
discussion to have.
Especially in a high school that was probably really huge. In a public school, we went to a private Catholic school where it was small, so everyone knew each other. Yeah, and we didn't really experience
it wasn't that
humiliation. Like we knew of people. We knew it wasn't like random people were going up and just making fun of us for no reason. Like, we knew why, or if people were making fun of us, we just knew the person in general.
Yeah, definitely, you're right.
We could beat the shit out of them if they were talking shit, or regardless. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too.
Same with American Vandal. Hope both those shows' second seasons turn out.
Yeah,
well.
I hope. I like, just to close this with American Vandal and move on to the next thing. I can see another season of this going out really, really strong. I mean, they ended it on a high note, and I hope they keep it. Mm-hmm. So as far as American Vandal goes,
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Krista drew the dicks.
Yes.
That's that.
And Van.
All right, moving on.
The next topic we're going to talk about is It, the new 2017 movie, directed by, is it Andre or Andrew or Andreas? Can you pull up that?
I think it's Andre, man. Hold on. The IMDb page for It is a cesspool.
I don't like how it looks like that.
It's just
Andy.
The worst thing I've ever seen. Okay. It's black, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
So, yeah, Andy Machete. Who did Mama, if you ever saw that, which I guess essentially what happened was, I guess he's like Venezuelan or Chilean, and he had the idea for Mama. I guess he made it like into a short film, and like I think Guillermo del Toro like loved it so much that he brought it into his like production house or whatever. So they made Mama, which
no good.
It was decent.
What's it about? I don't know anything about it.
Something about like a haunted like mom. I don't know. Honestly, it was Jessica Chastain was in it, and that was before she blew up into like torturing Bin Laden. So
those fucking movies.
Yeah.
Man.
So I don't know, but regardless, I guess they thought he was good enough to do It. And he definitely did.
He definitely was good enough to do it. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went to see it together, and on my first, like, just having it digest for, like, my immediate reaction was, that was a pretty damn good movie.
No, definitely, it definitely was.
After letting it sit for a day and thinking about it, there was a lot of stuff that was just done so fucking well. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah, I know definitely, like, when the first stills of Pennywise came out to the public, there was a lot of hate.
Yeah, there was.
But
those trailers, man.
Yeah. The trailer, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, this is awesome. But goddamn. And there's obviously going to be other detractors, other, I guess, Stephen King, like, fanboys who hated it. But even I read the book and I loved it.
That's not a movie that you can just take straight from book to movie. I mean, they took licensing and they did it right.
Yeah. It's honestly one of the best Stephen King adaptations I've seen. I mean, other than, like, Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. But in terms of, like, the horror aspect of Stephen King,
by
far. I mean, 'cause you can say Carrie was good, but that was made in 1979. The new remake.
69? No, that was Rosemary's Baby. That was Rosemary's Baby.
The one made in 2013 was dog shit.
Dog shit. Flaming dog shit.
I'm trying to think of some other ones. Like The Mist was decent.
I like that movie.
Even the TV show is okay.
Is it?
It's gonna come out on Netflix. It was on Spike for a while, which is another reason why people didn't really like it. But now that's gonna go
Spike,
on.
Man?
Yeah, it's Bar Rescue, you know what I'm saying? But now that like it's going on Netflix, probably get a lot more reception of it. But in terms of box office, this thing fucking did gangbusters. Like we're looking at the box office mojo now. In terms of domestic, it made 232 million. Plus the foreign made 171 million, so it gives it a worldwide total of $404 million on a $35 million production budget.
35 mil.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
I read,
especially for horror movies.
Yes, because I was just reading something a while ago, right after it came out actually, and it was the highest grossing horror film of all time.
It's in terms of Stephen King, it's number one.
Yeah.
What else here? Opening weekends in the fall and opening weekends in September, it's number one. In terms of rated R, number 9. In terms of rated R opening weekend, it's number 2.
You see, my stat might have adjusted, over time, but like it was kicking ass when it first came out, and
now that it came out,
it held up too. I mean, it
came out as of 14 days ago, so 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It came out. But yeah, I mean, there's so much like that was just so great about it. I mean, other than like
So what makes it great?
I think that I want to say updated version of Pennywise, like Bill Skarsgård, he blows that out of the water.
Carried that.
It's
movie.
So good. Honestly, like even like seeing interviews with him, like he has like he was talking about how he has like he can do like shit with his eyes.
The eyes.
Yeah, the eyes. Like they wanted to, I guess, do that in like CGI, but apparently.
He said, You want to see something cool, man? Look up the poster, and there's a shot on the poster of him doing the eyes in the shadow.
Really?
On the floor.
That's so cool.
It's awesome.
Like even like in the opening scene, like I guess technically we'll go spoilers with this, right? I mean, it's been out for 2 weeks, so if you haven't seen it, go fucking see it. But in the beginning of the movie, like they shot that the part where Georgie is going down like the boat in the water. That was like taken right from the original miniseries, which doesn't really hold up because it came out in the 90s.
It does not.
It doesn't hold up.
It does not.
But that scene was like shot for shot, like almost exactly the same. But there was just like
that whole tracking shot.
My god, yeah, him hitting his head off.
That's a classic. I mean, that is a modern classic.
It's
right
like the whole thing of him in the sewer, like.
I'm gonna gripe here though
about that scene.
No, nothing about that scene. Okay. And I said this to you. That scene was so fucking good. I mean, it was so well done. It was so fantastic that I felt like the rest of the movie was trying to keep up, and it just fell short a little bit from that scene. I mean, that scene was just so... It set such an amazing tone for the movie.
Oh, no, it did.
Then, like, it was a good movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, but, like, that scene, I think it just set a tone, and I think that's why some people aren't 100% on board with the movie, because, like, that scene set a tone for it, and it couldn't get quite to that caliber for the rest of the film.
I agree at some point, but I don't know. I just loved it like too much to.
I totally see that. I do.
But like even like that whole like I said in the beginning part, like him just like doing like the talking, like Bill like as Pennywise, and like there was, like the times when he was interacting with Georgie in that opening scene, and he would just like independently move the eyes, and then he would like. Just drool. I don't know if you saw that, but like there was just drool, like slobber, just coming out of his mouth as he was talking to him about like popcorn or like, like that was him just waiting to feast on Georgie, like it was just so great.
I think that's a big thing. A lot of people don't really pay attention to, and like maybe consciously, but like I think something that makes a great actor, a good actor, a great actor, is subtlety, and. Jake Gyllenhaal does it, Ryan Gosling does it, and Bill Skarsgård did it in It. And it's with your eyes or with your, without talking, you're still expressing emotion. You're still giving lines just through mannerism.
Yeah.
And like, I think an example of that would be Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. Well, he does in all those movies, but especially in Nightcrawler, where
when he's like bug-eyed the whole time. It looked like he hadn't slept in like months.
Yes, there's not much dialogue in that movie, right? And he carries it with just his facial expression.
Yeah, dude, definitely.
And like you see that coming through again in with Bill Skarsgård. I mean, not that there's not a lot of dialogue, there is, but like I mean that really took it to the next level.
Yeah.
And they gave it almost like something that I thought I can kind of see where some people are trying to pick it apart with, but I actually enjoyed was every shot of Pennywise had this weird like stabilization effect. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do, yeah.
Yeah. So like in every sequence where he's in the shot, the camera is stabilized on Pennywise, and it's very surreal. It's very dreamlike. It's very, it's weird.
Yeah.
But it gives it this feel of almost.
You're also being like in a
Yeah,
daze with them.
it's
like you're being part of the Deadlights.
And I enjoyed that. I thought that was really interesting, and because it's something I think it was definitely a obvious like a choice that they made.
Yeah.
And it definitely added to the film because like it put a certain vibe.
Yeah.
And
even like in the like before they even interact with Pennywise, like even with the opening scene with Georgie or the one where they go into the house on Nebel Street, there's like the way the camera, almost like the establishing shot, like sets up like it's almost like
that's what I'm talking about.
It has like a sense of dread to start off with the camera movement, and then it goes into those shots you're talking about Pennywise. Like honestly, the what I thought was really interesting was like they also kept Bill Skarsgård and the child actors apart for, I think when I watched an interview with the kids, they said like for 2 months.
Really?
They never saw him for 2 months.
That's fascinating.
Not even in his full getup.
That's cool.
They got the real reactions out of him when they were like on set, which was
that's
crazy.
Really cool.
That's amazing. Like they could like keep him away.
Yeah.
Like so.
Have you seen like any set pictures from him like in costume? Like like there's one picture.
There was one with him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, I saw that one. I also saw him and beside fucking what's the director's name? Andy Machete.
Yeah.
And he was standing beside him, and he is a tall boy,
yeah, he's
man.
Like 6'5".
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he that role is just he is Pennywise. I mean, he really rocked that.
And I like how they updated. I guess updated, but like the new costume.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with like the face makeup looked scary, but even like his dress like looked like a
his
Victorian
garb.
Queen.
It was Victorian as opposed to like and some people are also like it's not like a clown, but like he's an ancient fucking demon. Like you know,
it's just the fact that he takes the form of a clown is to lure children and more.
Right. Yeah.
Which
And I thought the costume design, especially on Pennywise, was way better than the miniseries. I mean, he was just it was scarier all around. I mean, you watch the original miniseries and like, I mean, it scared the hell out of me as a child. You know, I had like this. I had only seen like fragments of the movie. I mean, I was young when it came out, and like, but I remember. Like, I was afraid to take a shit because I thought, like, the clown would come out of the toilet.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And, like, so, like, he's, especially for someone our age, you know, we're both in early 20s, and, like, you kind of grew up with it in pop culture.
And there's no way to say that Tim Curry's performance isn't great, because Tim Curry's amazing as Pennywise, but I just think that he, like, Bill Skarsgård, just
next level
blew my expectations for that movie, because I was really apprehensive when they said they're going to redo it. Not redo, but it's not even a redo. It's more of a different
adaptation,
reimagining almost. But I mean, even like
what did you think of the choice to set it in the 80s as opposed to the 50s?
I like that because then when they do the new one, it's gonna be modern day, like today. So I guess and they really, honestly, didn't really bother me that much. I mean, they had like 80s nostalgia. Type shit.
There was a little. There was a little bit of like pandering to that because, well, I think that I think that was probably the primary choice because they could set Chapter 2 in modern day. But there's also, you have to think like there's a lot of Stranger Things going on right now.
There's the thing about that. The Duffer Brothers who made Stranger Things, they were in the running to do it.
I did hear that,
and I guess they just didn't think they were experienced enough, so they just went off and like, okay, that's fine, and they went off to create Stranger Things, which honestly I'm not complaining because Stranger Things is amazing. But yeah, that's just something very interesting because this movie was in production for like 8 years, if I want to say, from 2009 to 2017. Wow. It had so many different handovers. Yeah. With like Cary Fukunaga, who did True Detective, wrote and directed the first season, and they gave him a writing credit because he essentially wrote the whole script, but they just took it after he was off, and they tweaked the little things. Which, from what I understand, because I know Cary Fukunaga's screenplay was leaked online.
I saw that. I didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
I did see that.
The thing that was different was, and I agree with on Cary Fukunaga's part. He made the character Beverly more, what's the word I'm thinking of, independent, as opposed to a damsel in distress. As like,
let's talk about Beverly.
Because like
she
I like
fucks.
her character. Yeah,
she
yeah.
fucks.
But like, well, yeah, not that part. But it's just like at the end, the whole reason they go fight Pennywise in the final battle was because Beverly was kidnapped, as opposed to in Cary Fukunaga's script, they all and in the book they all band together as one to go. Okay, let's just fucking go and fight him, rather than saving one of their own. Which I don't know. I it didn't really bother me that much.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like, I don't know, it just felt a little tropey.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah.
Especially when excuse me, the actor's name was eluding me. Who the kid who kissed Beverly in the whenever she was kidnapped.
Ben?
Last thing. Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, Ben.
Sorry. So when he kissed her, like to bring her back to life or something, that was a little
that felt
ham-fisted.
a lot of different, a lot of same thing tropey about that.
I didn't think that really needed to be in there. It was.
I think they did that as a way to allude to the controversial scene in the book
When she fucks.
Yes, when they run the train on her.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
because
I think that's
you know, there was in the book, from what I understand, it was sort of like a coming of age. Like, you know, they entered into the tunnel and they left as boys and they left as men or whatever.
Exactly.
And you know, say what you will about it, whatever. But
I mean, Stephen King, like when he keeps getting asked about it, he's like, hey, you know, there's, I mean, yeah, there's, you know, a scene of the kids having sex, but there's also kids being brutally murdered.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, I'm not. I don't have any problem.
Yeah,
with
I don't
book.
either.
That's
But it's
stupid.
just like
Really.
it's just people say, "Oh, that shouldn't have been made." I was like,
"Shut the hell up."
There's a kid who got his arm ripped off in the opening scene.
Exactly.
And you're gonna complain about kids having
sex?
It's
Come not a book for kids. I mean, it's
Get
not.
over yourself.
You're right. Get over yourself is right. But all I was saying is like, you know, I think when he, especially his character was so, I don't know, awkward and boyish. I mean, and kind of scared and innocent and whatever. And when he kissed her, I mean, that was a big step for him. And I think that you're right. I think that was definitely an allusion to that scene.
Because I also think that I don't think a studio would sign off on them.
You don't think they want to film her fucking, dude?
I don't think so. I think that sounds like a. I mean. Would that technically be child porn?
I don't think it would be child porn, but I think it would be.
I mean, they're not actually having sex, but at the same time,
it's
like they would have
Christian
to have
protest waiting to happen. Is what it would be.
Which I mean, who gives a shit? Like,
right? But, I mean, you know, but do you remember when
I'm pretty sure
fucking Da Vinci Code came out? How crazy they got, dude.
Yeah, but I'm almost pretty positive there's lines for a child actor that they legally can't do.
Really?
I'm not mistaken.
That's interesting.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe like I mean I could be wrong.
Yeah, no. I mean I think that's plausible. I mean, although you look at like a Skins. You remember Skins? The British version. Don't even fucking talk about the MTV garbage.
But even then too, like they had like
but in the British version, there was a lot of questionable tits.
Yeah, but were those actually 16-year-olds or were those 21-year-olds?
Goddamn, looked like they were 16, but I'm sure they weren't.
Yeah,
but
that's probably how they got around it.
Right.
But
that was a good show. I
liked it. But I mean, go back to it though. Definitely, like everything was just so fucking good about that.
Let's talk. Let's talk about the projector scene. Then
that scene was great because it was in the trailer, and it was like probably like a little bit of it. I was not expecting that projector scene to
I stayed away
the way it did in the trailer.
I stayed away from a lot of the trailers, you know, especially like, you know, like I can't really watch trailers anymore, especially because like they send them off to these production companies to put the trailer together, and like it's not a trailer for the movie. I mean, like 90% of the time it's just a trailer where they take like all of the scares or all of the funny parts or all of the whatever.
Yeah, especially in horror movies, they put
in horror
they
movies,
put the scary parts out.
Way
like,
worse.
I'm gonna see that, and
right.
like, oh, this is the trailer.
So I try not to watch trailers anymore, especially because like, what I'll do is if I find something I want to watch on Netflix, I'll watch, and if I want to take a chance on it, I'll watch like 20 seconds of the trailer and then shut it off because like I know it's gonna spoil shit.
I usually just IMDb or Rotten Tomato it before, but. I understand that.
More often than not, I find myself kind of disagreeing with IMDb, and I line up with Rotten Tomatoes a lot more. They're harsh with movies, but I mean, like as a reviewer, you kind of have to be, you know, like.
I mean, right now it is standing as 2 weeks it came out 85%, which is very decent.
87 audience score, too.
Yeah, so it's great considering, like I was just telling you before we recorded, the newest Blair Witch had 100% before it, before the opening weekend, and it dropped down to probably like a 30 or something, I imagine. But,
right.
So it's
I do think that 85 is there to stay.
Because it was at 90 the day before the day we saw it.
Yeah, I remember that. In fact, I think it was 91 for a while.
So definitely, I mean, that's still a pretty decent, respectable score, especially with how much freaking money they made.
I hate to say it, but like if I see a film has less than like a 65, I'm not gonna watch it. I hate to say how much it influences me, but it
very
does.
Very apprehensive, yeah.
I think my favorite scene in it was probably where they were all in the water, swimming.
Mm-hmm.
The way that was shot with the God rays from the sun and like that was so well done. I mean, it was a beautiful, fucking awesome scene.
Yeah, and it's another allusion to the book. Not that scene, but the one scene in particular when they're part in that scene where they're talking about a turtle touching them. Yeah,
you were saying that the other day.
Yeah, so Stephen King's a weirdo, which I love him, by the way. But in it, especially when they get into the second part, which they're all adults, and even in the beginning when they're children, Pennywise is a cosmic being, and he's not like what you think he is. Like that part where he opens his mouth when Beverly's in the and you see those orange lights, or even when what's the other kid's name? Mike, when he's going to drop the meat off and he sees Pennywise with the orange eyes.
Yeah.
His orange eyes, those are the dead lights, and that's what he is, those orange lights. And he comes from this place called the Macroverse, which is like, it's a weird way to explain it, but his, I guess, arch nemesis, I guess, in a sense, is this big turtle called Maturin. And I don't know how they could have done that in the movie. Without alienating like an entire group of people that went to see a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Other than like just a huge nod to the fans that love Stephen King. So I
there's
guess
a certain level of pandering you have to do, but like you're right.
They did two things in the movie where they did that scene when they were swimming and someone said, "Oh, someone touched my foot." Oh, I can see it. It was a turtle. That's why they weren't harmed in any way outside, because that turtle was watching them.
Yeah.
Another part was when Bill was going down into the basement because I guess he saw Georgie, and he dropped that Lego set, which was a green turtle.
Yeah.
So I guess those are the two allusions to that book without telling people, oh, by the way, there's a turtle that Pennywise is like fighting with.
Yeah.
And people being like, what the fuck? Like, what am I watching? So it's like, I guess that's how they can get away with it.
One other thing, which I thought was kind of a nod to the fans. So, spoiler alert for, Chapter 2, I mean, if they go this direction, which I would assume they would. I mean, they've been relatively loyal to the book as much as they could be. The most a human can see it is a female spider. And there was a scene where he was talking to Georgie, and he was talking about the boat from the beginning, right? And Georgie kept referring to the boat as it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
In the beginning scene, you mean?
No, at the end. Do you remember when Georgie...
on the old series.
No, man. Remember when they were at the last scene of the movie?
Oh, when it was Pennywise,
where it was
not
Pennywise
Georgie.
was it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was talking, and Georgie was talking about the boat.
Yeah.
Okay. And fake Georgie kept referring to the boat as it, or a him, or whatever.
Yeah.
And what was the character's name that was talking to Georgie in that
Bill.
scene? Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill kept correcting Georgie, and he would say, "It's a she.
Yeah.
It's a she, Georgie. It's a she." And I think that was a nod to the fans because it was a female spider.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always,
possibly.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch that at all. When that movie comes back out, I'll definitely have to, or on Blu-ray.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, now that I'll have to, now I remember it. I was just remembering the part where it was like, there's this weird also thing in the book called the Battle of, it's called Chewed.
The Ritual of Chewed,
The
right?
Ritual of Chewed, yeah, which essentially that's how Maturin talked to Bill. Like, he's like, you have to use your Chewed to fight Pennywise.
Yeah.
Essentially like a battle of wits. And essentially, they kind of alluded to that at the end, like in that same scene when
I was very curious how they were going to do that.
They had the cattle prod gun that Mike had, and it was empty. And he kept telling Bill, it's empty, don't shoot, it's not loaded. And he still shot Georgie as Pennywise in the head with it. Yeah. So, I guess that's a way of, like, also
definitely. Absolutely.
Going into a weird tirade of, like, you have to shoot, or, you know what I mean? Like, explaining what that is. So,
because there's a lot of elements to that book. I mean, it's a monster of a book. It's 1,500 pages. I mean, it is a tome. It's a tome. It's a doorstopper. Yeah. And like there's a lot of content in that book where, like, I mean, like even half of the book, like, I mean, there's some really out there shit that would be hard to fit into like a accessible 2.5 hour movie.
Other than just the child orgy scene. I mean, there's
aside from that, right?
There's a scene in the beginning. I think when a homosexual man gets like thrown off a bridge, and you see Pennywise there laughing, like with
Now my only thing with this movie, well, one of my things with this movie is at the end there where they all cut themselves in the glass in that like ritual thing.
Oh, like the blood oath.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, that was just essentially them of like promising to themselves that like they will come back if Pennywise returns. They essentially,
that's that going back to tropey, that seemed a little much for me.
Yeah. Because essentially in the book they all go their separate paths, and as soon as they leave Derry, Maine, they forget about them. Okay. They forget about their experience there. So it's like...
So they're under like a blood oath to come
except
back
for
return.
one, I think Mike. Mike is the one that stays back. He becomes like the town's librarian. Essentially, Mike had the role of Ben in the sense that he was like researching shit. Yeah. In the book, but so yeah, he's the one that technically brings them all back. Sure. To fight it again for the last time, which I don't know how they're gonna do it without talking about like the cosmic aspect of Pennywise.
From what I understand, that's a big element to it.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I know that there was like these different scenes that were cut out that they wanted to put in. Like
I'm very curious to see the director's cut.
There was one of like that Bill Skarsgård was talking about that even he was kind of like apprehensive about being in. It was one where it was like a flashback to like a colonial period of when Derry, Maine was in like the colonial. Yeah. And I guess it was before he was actually in clown makeup, so he kind of looked like what Bill Skarsgård looked like now. And I guess this like woman sacrificed her daughter to Pennywise to feed on, so he can like get away, and like there's like it's like a graphic scene of him like feeding on a child. I see. So I don't know.
That's
if
interesting. Yeah. I would love for them to go all fucking out and just like super out there. I think
it was like if it was like not just like cut for budgetary reasons, because I mean like I said, $35 million is not a lot.
No, especially for a modern AAA film.
Yeah. I mean, and there was another one I think they said like they talked about the black spot, which was like one of the main incidences of Derry, Maine that Pennywise caused, where it was essentially like a hangout of like like African Americans in that scene. Yeah. And it was burned down by a bunch of like racist cult, and the survivors were then being like taken away by Pennywise, who in that time was like a form of this bird creature. So I think they said they're gonna put those into the beginning of the second chapter as a way of explaining his origins.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so I hope they do that, because I mean, I'd like to know more about Pennywise, because he didn't talk that much.
No, he didn't.
He just had really great scenes.
Where in the scenes where he was extra great in, where he really excelled, I loved the scene in the house where he looks at what's his name, and he says, "Is this real enough for
Bill?
you?" Yeah, is this real enough for you, Bill? Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. I'd love to see him just complete monstrous evil.
Him coming out of that refrigerator oh my god,
where he was all contorted and shit.
Oh my god,
hell yeah, dude.
That entire thing on Neibolt Street was like the best part of the movie. Like when he's like in the clown room with the kid from Stranger Things. Yeah, and then they both go into that room where it's like there's 3 doors and it said scary, not scary.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious, but also terrifying when they open the door and see that girl who's like vivisected.
Yeah.
Like that was so cool.
Well, Stranger Things kid with Finn Wolfhard. Yeah. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, there were times when he was... even going back to that time when they said beep beep, when Pennywise said beep beep. Yeah, that was a nod to the book, because his character Richie talks way too goddamn much, so the Losers Club would say beep beep to him as a way of shutting him up.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, without having the Losers Club say it, Pennywise said it, so it's again, another nod to the book. But yeah, even he... at times I thought he was saying fuck too much.
Yeah, I think that...
But it grew on me after a while, so I
it was funny because it was kind of part of his character, but I do agree with you. A little bit of the dialogue was kind of come on.
Yeah,
but I think, honestly, that the director just kind of like was like, say fuck whenever you want, and he just ran with it, which was funny to me.
Yeah.
But like it got a little bit like I don't say fuck that much, like, and I say fuck a fucking lot.
Yeah, see,
so
there you go.
right.
I think another like really funny scene in that movie was when Mike was getting beat up by the bullies, which was not funny. But he's like right by the river, and he's just like on the ground, and he looks over across the river, and he sees Pennywise, and he has like the arm. God damn it!
I'll cut it.
Okay. He sees Pennywise on the other side of the river, and he has an arm that's like cut in half. Which I think was Georgie's arm. Now that I think about it.
Dude.
And he's eating it, and he looks over and he waves with the severed arm. I thought that was hilarious.
That was funny.
But now that I think about it, I'm almost positive that was probably Georgie's arm because he bit it off.
Like taunting him.
Of the movie. Yeah. So, I mean, not that like that was Mike, so it wasn't like it was Bill's. There was
one scene where sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, that was dumb.
Where Beverly was alone with him, and he did his like little performance thing where he was like jumping.
Sorry to interrupt. There are hilarious videos.
Those are funny.
They put just funny music behind it.
Yeah, those are funny. That was a little like I don't know really what they were going for.
I don't know either.
That seemed like it could have been cut.
Yeah, I feel.
I don't know if they were like leaving it for like interpretation or what. Because that just seemed so like it was from a different movie or some shit. I don't know, man. That was a little weird for me.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, but it was like
it was funny for like internet gifs, but like I didn't think that it needed to.
Yeah, it was very weird. I don't know why they did that.
Like out of all the things to cut in that movie, like that would probably be something that you would want to maybe
put on the
back burner.
Yeah, definitely. But even like the other parts of like, cause I know they couldn't like when they talked about like the kids' fear.
Yeah.
They couldn't obviously license some of the stuff like in the old one, like Richie in the movie he was afraid of clowns, but in the book he was afraid of werewolves, and in the miniseries he was afraid of werewolves. So there was a part where Pennywise becomes a werewolf, and they kind of alluded to that in the house on Neibolt Street after he comes out of the refrigerator, and there's a shot of his hand, and you can see werewolf claws coming out.
I missed that. That's cool.
Yeah, so I guess another.
Even with the spider thing, like you were saying to me the other day with the legs, that was when they were fighting it. That was cool.
The last part, he had like spider legs coming down.
I also thought
then when sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But like that part where they put the cloth over. Was it Ben's head?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see the mummy. I think.
Yeah.
There was a part where it's like every other old monster movie was in there, like werewolf, mummy,
that was cool.
Frankenstein, all that stuff. So it's like they did that without really having to get the rights to it.
Last thing I'll say, the final climax of the movie when they all came together and banished him, that was pretty badass. That was cool. I thought that was going to be kind of stupid, just trying to watch a bunch of kids like beat up this demon, but like they did it well, and like it wasn't so much like a feat of strength as opposed to like an intellectual thing, like you said, like with with Wits or Chewed or whatever, what have you, where they kind of got over the psychological fear aspect, and once they were no longer afraid of him, then they were able to banish him, and I thought that was really cool.
And even like the fight at Neibolt Street, where it was really badass too, where she like just shoved that rebar through his head.
That was awesome.
That was a really cool way to end that, because I thought they were gonna die right there, honestly. But yeah, definitely that movie was very fantastic.
I was talking to you earlier about The Walking Dead, and like I also think this film kind of fell into the same trap with editing, where it's like, and then this happened, and now they're in Neibolt Street, and then now they're here, and now they're so aside from that, it was a good movie, and I do agree with the RT score with 85.
Yeah, definitely.
I would give it a strong 85.
And I'm excited to see where they're gonna go with it. And I think they Andy Machete said, I think that when the next one, Chapter 2, comes out, like on home video, that he's gonna cut it in a way so you can watch it.
That's cool.
Like the miniseries, like 4 hours.
That's
long,
awesome.
Which would be really interesting to see, because I would like to see how it just seamlessly blends into the Chapter 2.
Definitely.
I know that like the kid actors want who I think Beverly said she wanted like Jessica Chastain to play herself.
I could see that. Yeah.
Mike said he wanted to have what's his name? Guy that plays Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Finn Wolfhard said, I think he said he wanted Bill Hader. Which would be hilarious.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I think there was other ones of like, I think the guy that plays Ben wanted Chris Pratt. So it's like these kids are reaching for the stars, but at the same time, it's like, dude, the movie made $400 million.
I mean, I think
Warner Brothers could probably spare that much for all these A-list actors.
Right. I'd be worried to see, like, I think it'd be hilarious, seeing Bill Hader and Chris Pratt, know, on a chapter 2. But like, I think that it would almost kind of detract from it.
I
have problems nowadays with like A-list actors. If I see like Brad Pitt or DiCaprio or whatever, and it's like, oh, he's dressed up as this fucking guy now, like, because I can't get into like immersion if I see like this stupid fucking ugly mug, and it's like, oh, Brad Pitt's doing this, and he's in a suit today, and he's it's just so. And you want to talk about typecasting? I mean, like, I think they're so boxed into just Brad Pittliness, where like, every like instance of Brad Pitt, you can't actually see the character he's playing. It's like, oh, there's Brad Pitt, he's that dude.
Leonardo DiCaprio's fighting a bear,
right? Exactly.
Which I thought that movie was great.
It was good. Like, I'm not saying their movies are bad, but like
you can't disassociate
Leonardo
DiCaprio from
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah.
So no, I mean, I would like to think that they would not
do that. Yeah.
But
that'd be funny though.
Who knows? I mean, the movie's gonna come out in like 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
They can take as much time as they need. I mean, I don't want it rushed. I don't want a True Detective season 2. I just want, like, take, especially with that, like, like there was such a great reaction to it, and then they just shit another one out.
Yeah.
Where, especially with the first season, where they took their time, and it was like in production forever, and they wrote it, and it was like this 12-year thing, and all this stuff, and then it was a success, and HBO just hit it, and they, keep going. I don't want that to happen, especially with, with all this money they made. I'm worried that they're going to try and shit one out next year, and I don't want that to happen.
I hope not.
I hope not. I severely do.
I think that they will...
I think they'll take their time.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that they're going to bring everyone back production-wise.
Right.
And they said the kids are going to come back in a flashback sense.
Cool.
So at least they'll be back, too.
Build the hype train, I think it'll work. I mean, I think that's all there is to say.
Yeah, I just hope that they make... I think they said they're going to do more classically, in a sense of, like, I hope they don't, like, alienate the fans that aren't aware of the books.
Right.
Like I said with the whole turtle thing, where it's like, oh, by the way, this is a turtle that he's going to be fucking fighting.
Here's this weird cosmic,
I hope they don't, like, go over the top with it, and then only have the fans like me or you that read the book, like, really
into it,
And then people are like, I didn't like it because there was a fucking turtle at the end. I was like, well, I mean, you have to read the book.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to read the book to watch a movie.
Exactly.
So,
you're right.
I hope that they do it relatively well, which I think if they did it well with this first part, they're going to knock it out of the park with
I do too.
So.
I really do.
But, definitely. Go see it. Go see it. Definitely.
I've been trying to say this pun for like 10 minutes. That's it.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
God damn it.
All right, that's episode 1 of Two Thumbs Down, and tune in next week for Kingsman and fucking that weird Facebook movie. And we're back. We're going to see it.
All right.